let's talk about now the top running backs in the 2026 NFL draft class. We have a few honorable mentions. I want to say Katron Allen out of Penn State. This is a back that really impressed me, and I didn't expect him to impress me as much as I did once I turned the tape on, but he's a really physical downhill runner. That's what everybody's going to say about him. That's what's going to jump off the screen. But what jumped off the screen to me is that this guy has elite division. He's the leading rusher at Penn State. He always finishes forward. Good stiff arm. That guy's got a fucking arm bar. No passing game upside. Doubt he'll make guys miss in the hole or in open space at the next level. But if he's on a decent run blocking offensive line, he'll be able to get to the next level and either run through a fucker's face or he sets up linebackers in a good way that can make up for his lack of speed. He can maybe get the edge, at least in college. Who knows if he'll be able to do that against NFL linebackers and NFL comp. But Katron Allen is a fucking monster. He'll wear you down. Tyler Algier, Braylon Allen, that kind of mold where he can be a complementary piece with like a speedy back. There's backs like his exactly what he was with Nick Singleton, right? Like there's backs in this draft class, like your Damon Claiborne's out of Wake Forest. Like I pair these two up. Like if you are, what's a team that doesn't have any running backs right now? What's a team with no RBs? I can't think right now. I'm trying to. Like the Commanders just signed Rashad White. They have Bill Krosky. The Eagles have Saquon. I'm just going by division. The Cardinals have James Conner. I'm trying to think. The Seahawks don't have running. Zach Charbonnet is their running back. They're a team, and again, I'm not taking a running back in the first. Like, there's a few. We'll get into my top 5, and I would take some of these guys in like 4th, 5th round area if they get that far. But taking a running back in the middle rounds makes no sense to me if you already have an established guy in the building. You only take a running back if you have him ranked really high on your board, and for some reason he's fallen all around behind. I don't understand why teams go like quarterback, or not even quarterback, wide receiver or running back in the middle rounds when there's always going to be 5 offensive linemen on the field, always. But then you have different sets where there's 2 wide receivers, 1 wide receiver, 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers. But what percentage of the game are you going to have 5 wide receivers on the field? Like, why would you not throw as many darts as you can at offensive linemen? Because not only is that where the game is won, that's the position group where you have the most players on the field. So taking these running backs in the 3rd, 4th round when you have guys in your building already makes no sense to me when you could just throw these darts at linemen. Defensive, offensive linemen. There's always going to be 4 defensive linemen on the field. There's always going to be 5 offensive linemen on the field. There's not always going to be 4 receivers. And I'm not saying neglect the receiver position, but once we get into these middle rounds and it becomes more of a dart throw, why would you waste those on running backs? I don't understand it. Why would you waste those on running backs? Bill Krosky was a 7th round pick last year. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me unless you have a guy ranked really, really high and he falls down the board. So, like, I'm going to give you an honorable mention in Kalen Black or Katron Allen. I wouldn't take this fucking guy till the 7th round. I wouldn't. 6th or 7th round. Number 5, though, I talked about him a little bit already. If you've been listening, if you haven't, his name is Jonah Coleman, 5'8", 220, out of Washington. Really smooth cuts, really good bursts. Really impressed me his ability as a pass catcher, the way he transitioned from the pass catcher to a runner. Really smooth hands, really, really clean in that transition from pass catcher to running back. Lacks a lot of like breakaway speed. There's not a whole lot of breakaway speed in this year's draft. There is, and we'll get into the few guys that come to mind. I mentioned him earlier in Damon Claiborne out of Wake Forest, who's a name that's going to be really trendy in like dynasty fantasy football circles, because if you have a 4-3 attached to your name as a running back, it's going to be the trendy pick. But he's a really boomer bust type of player, not really big, 5'10", 188, soaking wet. So if he doesn't break through arm tackles, he gets tackled by the first defender a lot. He gets tackled at the line of scrimmage a lot, but he also breaks big ones off. He's fast enough to get the edge. He sets up linebackers well before he makes his jump cut to the outside, gets the edges on linebackers. Then his vision down the field is pretty good as well. And he's fast enough to beat corners or beat safeties and mess up their pursuit angles and beat them down the sideline. At least he was in the ACC, but he doesn't have that pass catching prowess you would like out of a guy that is a speedy back that's 5'10", 188. He can't pass block, and he's not going to win in between the tackles at the next level unless he's on a really, really good zone scheme offensive line. So guys like him are going to be really trendy. I don't really see it a lot, but there are guys with really home run hitting speed. Jonah Coleman, who's my 5th best RB on the board, is not it at all, but he is really, really good in that first initial burst and defenders just fall off him. He had a really, really good day against Ohio State, which was a historically great defense. Those guys were having trouble tackling him. Those guys are going to be like 8 out of 11 starters on that team are going to be drafted to the 10 out of 11. I wouldn't be surprised if every single starter on the team. I have to look at their roster, but I'm pretty sure besides like Caden Curry, maybe even him, he's probably going to get drafted. So the entire Ohio State defense is NFL ready. Jonah Coleman's tape against Ohio State was really, really good. So Jonah Coleman out of Washington is a guy that I'm really bullish on. At number 4, and this is a guy I would take, like, I probably have a 5th round grade on him. If he's there in the 6th, I would take him. If he's there in the late 5th, I would take him. But I'm not going to spend an early round pick on him. I'm just not going to. Number 4, Arkansas running back Mike Washington. And him and Jonah Coleman's really close. I honestly think Jonah Coleman's tape was a little bit more impressive than Mike Washington's, especially Jonah Coleman's tape against Ohio State. But Arkansas's running back, Mike Washington, also ran in the 4.3s. He has the size to speed combo that you're not getting out of Jonah Coleman. Again, he was really, really good against Texas. He ran through the Texas safety. I'm forgetting his name, but he ran through his face, ran him over, and then bursted in the end zone. The only thing is, 5th-year senior, and I'm not an ages guy. I'm not an ageism guy. Like, I was bullish on Tyler Shuck. I'm bullish on Akeem Messidor. But these receivers and running backs that take a long time to produce can be a little bit sketchy. Like, you think about, oh my gosh, the receiver out of South Carolina for the Panthers, Xavier Legette. Like, if it takes a minute for them to produce, I can be a little bit on them. But I still like my Washington's tape. Incredibly fluid, the same way with Jonah Coleman in terms of catching the football. Rarely does the first tackler bring him down. He has a lot of good wiggle in open space with the ability to run through arm tackles. Again, we're talking about that size speed at 6'1", 223. A lot of carries under his belt. He had 600 yards in 2022, 700 in 2024, 1,070 yards on 6.5 yards per carry in 2025. Easily his most efficient year came in 2025, 5th-year senior. So like that, the fact that we had to wait for his production a little bit can scare me off just a little bit. But again, the tape this year was really, really good. Go watch him against Texas was nasty. 10 fumbles over the last 3 seasons. Could be a little bit of an issue, a little bit of ball security problems there. But Arkansas running back Mike Washington Jr., his speed shows up on tape. He consistently gets the edge. He has home run hitting ability. He runs through arm tackles, really good size to speed combo that you just don't see a whole lot. And my favorite running back in this draft, that's not Jadarian Price or Jeremiah Love, is Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska, dude. That dude is an absolute beast. And I heard Curt Cignetti say something back in like college football playoff season that was just so profound. It's like, I've been on production, not potential. And Emmett Johnson has been nothing but productive. I meant to do this before I started this episode, but I want to get his game log in front of me because I'm pretty sure he had like 200 yards against Iowa. He had like 200 yards against Penn State down the stretch. The dude was just an absolute monster. And he is a bell cow back. And especially after Dylan Raiola got hurt, they just relied on him. He was their entire offense, and he was an absolute monster. He had 1,400 yards in 2025, 5 yards per carry, 46 catches, 370 receiving yards, 8 yards per catch. Very physical, very twitchy. Defenders just fall off this dude. He doesn't have home run. He's a 4-5 guy. He's not going to be hitting home runs. He's not going to be breaking off 60-yard runs. So his ceiling is a little bit limited because he doesn't have that home run hitting ability, but he's proven he can be a bell cow, pretty fluid at the catch point, very limited route tree. But again, he can be an all 3 down back. He can handle a 20 carry a game workload, violent at the point of attack. The dude is a fucking bowling ball. Dudes just bounce off of this guy. I'm telling you, Emmett Johnson is the most underrated running back in this 2026 class of RBs. The dude is a bowling ball. The dude had 1,500 yards, almost 1,450, 5 yards per carry, and he was the Nebraska offense down the stretch. He had huge games against Iowa. He had a huge game against Penn State. He doesn't have home run hitting ability, so he's not going to be ripping off 60-yard rushing touchdowns, and that does cap his ceiling a little bit. But again, he is super twitchy in open space, more than a lot of scouts give him credit for, and he is just a fucking bowling ball. Like, dudes just fall off him. His contact balance is elite. He runs right through arm tackles. He was the best player on Nebraska by a long shot, especially after Dylan Raiola went down. He's incredibly violent. He's a good pass catcher, even though his pass tree is limited. And the pass pro is obviously needs improvement, as most of these running backs in this draft class. But Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska is my favorite back in this class, besides obviously Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, who I think are in a tier of their own. And then obviously Jeremiah Love, elite. I would argue almost generational prospect, but I think the word generational gets thrown around a little bit too much. But Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska is my RB3 in this year's draft class. Let me get this in front of me too before we go any further. I want to just get his game log and get you guys the exact numbers that he had against some of the best teams in the Big Ten, because he was just a fucking monster, man. Bear with me here for 1 second, chat. 1 second while I filibuster here. And the number 2 is Jadarian Price. Number 1, Jeremiah Love. And I don't want to say generational for Jeremiah Love, because I do think he's in that tier with your Jeanty, Bijan, Saquon, where he should go top 5. But I think Saquon was last generation's. Bijan's this generation's. Like, you get one generational back. You get one generational prospect. The term generational gets thrown around way too much. And I do think Bijan was a better prospect than Jeremiah Love was. I think Saquon was a better prospect than Jeremiah Love was. But Jeremiah Love's in that same level. Like, he could be the generation. He could be the next guy. Maybe as a prospect, him and Bijan is neck and neck. But Saquon is just a completely different level, man. He was unbelievable. Emmett Johnson, there we go. So he had like 1,700 total yards. Let me get his game log in front of me here real quick. He had 217 yards against Iowa. He had 150 yards against Penn State. He had 230 yards against UCLA. He had 200 yards against USC. And this is scrimmage. So this guy, in the last 4 games of the season, had a 200-yard rushing day. He had a 200-yard scrimmage day. He had a 170-yard scrimmage day. And he had a 150-yard scrimmage day in the last 4 games of the regular season. And that includes 170 against Maryland on the ground, 125 against Northwestern, 140 against Akron. That's Akron. 110 against Cincinnati. This dude was just putting up monster totals. And he reminds me a little bit of Missouri running back Ahmad Hardy in the way he can just bounce off tackles. So shout out Emmett Johnson. The dude is a stud. Jadarian Price, RB2, fast, but 4.49, 4.5 speed fast. So he looked faster on tape. I'm not going to lie. He gets the edge a lot. Really, really good vision, good burst, physical, keeps legs moving through contact, always finishes forward, good vision. 750 yards in 24, 700 yards, like 675 in 2025, 6 yards per carry. He didn't get any passing volume, so I don't know if he even can. He had 6 catches. He had 10 catches for 103 yards over the last 2 seasons. I don't know if he can catch passes. I just simply he just wasn't in his role. Jeremiah Love, the best back in ball. I talked about him earlier. Elite vision, elite burst, elite wiggle, elite physically, good speed to power, good. He can do it all. He's a 5-tool running back. Well, I don't even know if it's a thing. I'm about to say a 5-tool back. It's a baseball thing, but speed, vision, pass catching ability, physicality, juking, I guess. The 5 tools of a running back. Jeremiah Love's got them all. There was a rep against Arkansas that I referenced in a previous episode. He lined up in the slot, ran a quarter route. The slot corner touched the earth. He got wide open. He can do it all, man. He is a beast. And what did Cignetti say? And I'm going to allude to it again. Production over potential. Well, when production and potential match, that's a blue chip player. Jeremiah Love has the potential, has the measurables, and the production is there. He's a blue chip player, almost 7 yards per carry over the past 2 seasons, 17 touchdowns in 24, 18 touchdowns in 25, 280 receiving yards in 2025 with 1,300 yards. The only reason he didn't have a monster 1,700, 1,800 yard season is because there was another back in the backfield, Jadarian Price, who's averaging 6 fucking yards per carry and is likely going to be the second back off the board. So Jeremiah Love is a beast. I'm going to be doing a position breakdown every single week as we get closer to the draft. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on post notifications. If you made it this far, leave a like and a comment if you agree or disagree. I love you guys, man. Hit that subscribe button.